Hi everyone, it is Mickey here from A Pretty Talent, where we use our God-given talents to make the world a pretty place. And I am back with actually 2 double spread pages in this record player journal that I am creating now. Why 2? Let me quickly show you. We have been creating, this one came out, the cover page, the front end pages. And we then went to the back pages to kind of keep the balance in the journal. After that, I went directly to the center. And now I'm going to the first quarter and the last 3 quarters in other words. So pockets 3 and 9, if you like. It's not exactly the pocket because I'm working with opposite sides. Okay, so just to keep the journal evenly spaced and make sure that there is enough room for everything, so that I don't crowd the front of the journal and then there's no space towards the back. Sort of working to prevent that kind of action from happening. Right, so what have I done? I have used my coffee brown ink and my honeycomb stencils, and I have simply created the faintest little outline here on the covers. It's just a slight pattern. And also on these flaps, because these flaps are going to be important in this particular activity. Let me put the ink aside. I then went into these 2 paper packets that I bought on Temu. And I went in search of doors that could be used back to back. Now these 2 can't. Can you see they're completely different? These 2 you might be able to, because they've got the arches and they're more or less the same width. So when you do this, you want to bear that in mind. And I also went in search of stone pattern because I want to try something else. We'll get to that later. Right. Now, so that's what I've done. I've got my doors back to back. I've got my stone bits, 2 papers, and doors back to back. Back to back. And that is going to be, let me just do the planning here so you can see. There and there. And then I'm thinking of halving this and maybe continuing the pattern. I just thought we'll see if it works or not. All of this is very experimental. Then I went in search of my printables, and again, the name of the designer is not on the page. So I kind of liked the shape of this page. And what I've done is I used this printable and I printed it back to back. I haven't trimmed anything down yet. And I have got 4 pages. Let me just do this. 1, 2, 3, sorry for that, 4 pages. For the one side of the journal, it's going to go in there like that and be a flip out journal. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 for the other side of the journal, and I'm going to flip them out from that side. Right, so that's more or less where my thinking is with this. Now, let me just turn this. No, let me turn that one. Now, I also then went into my, those offcuts that I have every time. Can you see? These are offcuts from the previous printing job. Because they're on a sturdy cardstock, I'm going to use this to turn into belly bands, so that once I've created this little journal, it will stay intact by tucking into this little belly band on the side. So that's the thinking. So that's using the cut-offs. That's why we keep the cut-offs, because we have real good intentions of using it. Let me just gather all the stuff on the side. And I'm going to go to the other side of the journal. And you will see that we have very much the same thing going on this side. What I haven't done on this side is to just ink the edges of the flaps. The flippity flaps. Oui. Right, and that'll just make it a more pronounced line. Can I also say, you will need to take a bone folder and flatten these down if you have something similar, because they've been folded the opposite way for years on end. Okay, so on this side, same thing. My apologies for my voice. The back-to-back gates, doors, whatever it is, the stone sides, stone walls, whatever they will be, and then the journals. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4 pages, and to the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4 pages back to back. Right, and that will be, well, either writing spots, if you work with a black pen on it, I'm sure that'll work, or it will be creation spots. That'll be, for later to decide what we want to do with that once we start working in the journal. For my belly bands, the offcuts from the covers of the journals that I made to slide into the pockets, I just grabbed 2 offcuts. I'm not sure I'm going to like these colors. If I don't like the colors, I'm going to swap out for more offcuts. There are plenty of them to go around. So that's the idea. Now, I'm going to first switch off the camera. Be back later. I need to trim things down, ink things, cut things up, not bore you to death with that, and then I'll be back. Now, when I do trim this down, one of these sides, depending on whether it's a left-hand page or a right-hand page. If it's on the left-hand page, I intend to use that white area to create the journal with. So the left-hand side would have to stay intact. If it's going on the right-hand side, then I need to keep the right-hand one intact. So just bear that in mind. Okay, but I will be back just now. So I have done quite a bit of prepping. Possibly not enough, but time will tell. And so here's what I've done. I have trimmed 3 sides. I did cut this ever so slightly smaller, maybe 0.5 centimeter, maybe not even quite that much on the side. And then I took out my scoreboard and simply lined these up. I've got a nice black line that I gave myself here, and it makes it so much easier. I say, and then I go, oh, crooked. Let me just line it up properly. Okay, and then fold it. Right, put it aside. Next page. Oi. I put a hole right through that one. Just wait for the camera to go on, and then I'll do stuff like that. I think I'm being over hasty and I should just slow down. Right. Next one. These have not been trimmed nicely. I think I'm just going to trim these. They all have a little bit of white showing here, which I missed on my inspection. Not a very good inspection I made. What is this? Why are these not folding? Goodness gracious. You must just switch on the camera and then all of a sudden things will start going awry, which previously it worked beautifully. But anyways. There, that's how all of them worked until I switched on the camera. Okay, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. I am going to just quickly trim these down. Let me get my paper cutter. Okay, so this is what I did. I used the paper cutter. Now where are the white ones? Okay, it's very, very barely that I need to trim, but I do need to trim. So let me do this. And if you're finding that your paper cutter doesn't cut nicely, here's a trick. Take your metal ruler and hold it down with the metal ruler, and then you get a nice clean cut. What I find is if I don't do that, then my papers start moving, and yeah, I don't get that clean cut. Right. Now then, that's better. That's way better. After that, I took them two at a time and simply rounded the corners. Just gives it a bit of a nicer finish. Not entirely necessary, but it does look more finished, I think, when the corners are rounded. Okay. Right, and then that was that. Let me just put things away. Now I want to bring in the journal, because we first need to pay attention to this now. Right. So we're going to bring in these and put the journal away again. So what I have done here, where's my, oh goodness. I'm just going in search of the ones that I left unglued, because I did leave two unglued so that you could see what I'm doing. Okay, so 3 of these are now glued back to back, and this I have left unglued. I love that. Okay, and so here's what I do. Glue plate. I start with really nuisance glue. I don't like this glue. It tends to color everything it touches. Okay, I don't like glue sticks in general in any case, but nonetheless, there is a place for everything, isn't it? Now, I'm going to come in with my bitter glue. And I'm going to glue down so the glue stick gives me a better coverage, a better spread of glue. But essentially, this is the glue, the one that I'm applying now, this B6000, that I'm relying on to keep everything in place. Right, now, put this on top of the other, glue them down, doesn't matter if it's not exact. Right, and that's that for the gluing. Now, that's the last one to be glued, so now we're going to take them one at a time, and we are going to have to trim away. Okay, first of all, you've got to decide which is going to be your front and back. How did I choose this? An oval and, oh my goodness. I wasn't paying attention. Okay, so let me make this the front. I have to trim away all of the white. And it will be essential that I work accurately here. You can rather cut away a little bit of your design, your picture, than to leave white. White will show. By the way, I was refilling my ink in my ink tank, and because I use cheap ink, the bottles don't always fit. The nozzles don't always fit the ink tank. And so I had to kind of transfer the ink from one bottle to another first. I made such a mess. Got myself all inked up. And this is not an ink that you just simply wash off. So when I do a bit of a soak in the bath, it'll come off. But yeah, until then, I'm going to have these colored fingers. Now, I'm not going to do all of these on camera, so I'll just do one so you can see where we're going with this. Yeah. Okay. Let's toss all of that. This one, the back, it doesn't matter because this is what we will see. Okay. Now, once we've cut it open, we've cut the sides apart, we need to decide how to cut this open. And this one is going to have to be somewhere into that shadow area. Now, let's decide that this one will open okay. Right. Let's bring in the ink. Just ink this up. Get rid of the white there. Okay. And you can now maybe use the scoreboard. It's going to be easier, I think, if you do. Right. And that's where your door will open. Well, the door will open. Yeah, it'll look just beautiful from both sides. Okay. So, put the scoreboard away again. And now we are going to bring in the journal. Wait, come journal. And one of these. What am I resting on? Let's do this. Something. Oh, the glue. The glue was under the. Okay. So this will now essentially come in here. No, let's do it like that. And now this is where we decide. I don't want to do it like that. What I want to do, what's the point of that? Okay, so what I want to do is to essentially cut this open here now. And I'm going to cut along the lines of the stone. Right, then I'm going to swap them over so that I can have something like this. Now, I will have to cut things away again. That's fine. Right. Yes. I like that. Okay, so essentially, here's what we're doing. We shall have to do this one at a time. From more or less there where it starts evening out at the top, and here, we're going to put the glue. Then put this in place, lining it up at the bottom. Doesn't matter if it doesn't line up exactly. Doesn't even matter that the stone is not exactly the same. That'll be fine. Right. Then we are going to do the same thing. Let me just see. Yes, on the side. Okay. And we'll release there. close the glue. And now we're looking at, what am I doing? Bottom of the page. Lined up. Glue down. Right. That's great. That looks great from this side. It's not going to look great just yet. Okay, so bring in our scissors. We are now not looking for a perfectly straight line. I'm actually curving the scissors as I'm cutting so that you have more of that kind of rock finish, uneven finish at the top. Okay, just smoothing them in so that they're all the same height. Now, when we open the door, oh my goodness, I almost glued my door shut. Okay. I need to trim away this now. So that is going to be a simple matter of trimming that and trimming that, right, and then this is done. I think it looks spectacular. I really love how this looks. Now we need to decide where we're going to put this. Yeah, what I want to do is I think now I think this will just give it a bit of a stabilizer here at the bottom and just make it look more finished. So I'm literally just pulling one of these offcut pieces in and I'm going to glue that in place first, I suppose. Glue mat. Hey, don't go doing that now. Good grief. Why would you do that? Hey. Quick save, quick save. Okay, we managed. Right, and now for the next glue job. Why don't we do that again? Because we've got a large surface here. Okay, and we come in with a proper glue. It is never easy to glue wobbly pieces like this one. So we are going to have our work cut out for us, but in any case, we will do it. We'll manage. I'm sure we will. Gonna make it work. Right. The important thing is to line up the bottom now with that bottom. That wasn't too difficult. Honestly. Not too difficult at all. Right. Make sure your door opens, that it's not stuck somewhere in the glue. Oh, well, not straight. Maybe congratulated myself slightly too early. What with this not being in the center? Oh well. Now it is what it is. I shall have to be more careful with the others. Okay. So that's the first bit of something that we are doing. The next thing on our agenda is to now come in with this, and we want to create this, and like that. There's some white showing, so we'll ink that real quick. Okay. We want to essentially put this here. So, first things first. Let's start gluing this together. Might as well keep using this because it is handy here now. Okay. Then comes the next page. Line them up nicely. No, they're nicely lined up. Try again. Okay. Glue the second one. Line them up nicely. I found that if you tap them together like that, they're easier to line up. Okay. And the next one, see, that's the blue glue getting on everything. I am never doing colored glue again. I thought it was so cute when I saw it. But I really came to hate the colored glue. Okay, and the next one. Lined up. Okay, so that is essentially our little journal. But what do we do with this now? Not quite finished. This now needs to come in here. So I think the easiest thing to do would be to glue this part And then glue this part. And now line this up nicely. Yeah, that'll work. Right. Then we are going to come in with our scissors, baby scissors, to do a big job. I don't know. We just do this properly. Okay, because this is quite thick now. And I'm going to cut away that little triangle. I don't like that there's still white showing. Right, I do the same thing at the top. I'm going to have to swivel this around for me to reach there. Right. Now, does this bother us? Maybe. I don't know, you're going to have to make a decision here yourself. I kind of feel like I don't mind, but I'm wondering if I can at all, sure, 4 pages at a time, at such a difficult angle. I don't think I'll be able to. I think I'm being stupid. I can much rather put a trim here. You know, whatever. A kind of a trim to just make it blend in. This can be lace or whatever. And I think that's what I would opt for. Now, I don't want there to be that kind of movement. Or do I? Do I want this to page out altogether? Or do I want it to flip out like this? Well, now there's a decision to be made. The decision I'm going to make is to not let it page out. I like the idea of this, but considering the age of this journal, I think that movement on this hinge might actually weaken the journal, because this is a substantial bit of weight. So I'm going to say no. Let's not. Instead, let's ink this as best we can. And then, now I can make a pocket here, tuck spot. I'm not going to do that. I think this is really a lot of weight for this journal to carry. There's enough pockets, enough tuck spots, enough interesting elements in the journal. So instead of creating a tuck spot, I'm simply going to glue it down. I think it would be the safest thing for the journal if I did that. I might as well keep going with this blue glue. I don't want this to be a weak journal that falls apart. It's a journal that's going to be worked in. It's going to be handled often and a lot. And things need to stay intact. It needs to stay in place. And so I keep considering the strength of the journal as I'm creating it. Let me just hold this for a second. Now you might ask, why take all the trouble with this if I'm going to cover it? Because when you get to this page, there's going to be this lovely surprise element, and it's going to be fun. It's just going to be so much fun. I think because I've gone skew on this one, not centered it, I need to put flowers or something here to just sort of fill up that gap, but that's for another day. It's just an idea on how to fix a boo-boo like that, because we make the boo-boos, okay? We're all human. Let me grab some lace here. I have some lace. Let me just see if I have anything that will go. I don't like these colors for that. Maybe this one. Yeah, that'll be fine, because even when it's stuck down, it will still have movement, because fabric is patient. I need to cut. Right about there. Okay. So let me do this. And then I'll do the other 4 pages off camera. And come back to you when I got them all to this point, and you can see what we do to finish this. I'm going to just put the glue. There. And put it here. And put it smack down the middle. Put another one there. Top and bottom. Okay, close the glue. Now, pick this up really carefully. I do think I glued on the wrong side of this lace. Don't think it's going to matter too much with this particular lace. But here's the second boo-boo for today. Right, the glue will be, I've got glue all over my hands now. The glue will be wet for a bit, and don't close anything now until the glue is set. But here's what I want you to see, that you will be able to still page. I can't because it's still wet. You will be able to still page even though there's an overlap, because the lace is it's going to be more patient than paper would have been. But that gives us a nicer edge here. If I find that it doesn't want to move, I'll give it a quick snip, and then my page will page again and it won't look bad. Now 3 more times and I'll be back to continue with the journal. Okay, I'm back, and I've prepared everything, well, up to a point. So let me show you what I have done. I have now glued in, this one is the last one I glued in, so it's still a bit wet, all of the different pieces, and all of the notebooks are now prepared. Now there's a whole lot more that can be done here. I'm just going to say this. I did find that putting a little snip in here made more sense. Now again, there's a lot that you can do. And I kind of think that should maybe be left for when we actually start working in the journal. So maybe gluing a little flower like that in, or anything else for that matter. That's an option one now has. There's space here, there's space there. All of these pages have space to add things, any kind of thing. So this is not finished. It's a journal that's created to the point where you can actually start journaling in it. So now all that's left to do is to glue in the belly bands. I'm not going to grab the glue sheet. And just dollops of glue on both ends. And again, these are my off-cut pieces that are coming in very handy. I put it in place, aiming to be more or less in the same place as the opposite page. Just got to hold it down for a little bit. Now even the belly bands are boring at this stage. They should be embellished. Something should be done with them to make them look prettier. But this has been 4 pages that I've done today, and it's been an arduous one. So I think leaving the belly band for another day, it's not a bad idea. And that other day, that next day that you're leaving it for, that's when you start working in these little journals. So this side I've already glued in the belly band. And this is what it looks like. And isn't it absolutely gorgeous? Doesn't it make you feel that you want to start playing in these little mini journals? So that's that. That's our center page that we did the last time. See, this one is way more finished than the one that I just did. And then we have these 2 that were also created today. And again, this one has the double doors. With just a little journal. And this one was the one that I did on screen, but let's have a quick look at it. Oh, here's something I've done just to show you. I'm on something again. Okay, just to show you how I can compensate for a mistake that I've made. Oh, goodness, now I folded over. So just a little something to fill that space because I was off center. And also here, just an idea on how to finish this because I don't like that finish. So just an idea on what you can do to finish this. And again, I'm not going to actually pursue this now. I'm just showing you the ideas exist. Right. Something to embellish the belly band, a little bit of embellishment here. Loads of things that can still happen on these pages. But I think, all in all, I'm quite happy with where I got the journal to today. It is starting to look really, really nice. Shall I do a very quick flip through for you? Oh, goodness. So starting on your cover page, you have this page with all its interesting elements and tuck spots and whatever it is. Now, here I was still finishing things way more than I'm doing at the moment. What happened here? I need to look at what's causing this. I do not like what is happening here. And I'm going to come and re-glue this because that's something that should not be happening. Something is grabbing that. Okay. Then we have the next pages that are done are these that we've done today. We have our center pages. The other two that we did today. And, oh goodness, the last pages we've done. The previous time. And so all in all, the journal is coming together, but needs a bit more work. So, for that, I'll see you in the next video. Cheers for now.